Hey, what's going on, everybody? Huvi186 back again with episode 4 of Huvi's live stream. Let me share this link out real quick. Uh, Give me a moment. Hopefully, everyone's having a good day. Okay. All right. See, I'm live now, so let me share this. Got a couple stuff to talk about. I didn't want to talk about this because the news kind of faded away. While I'm sharing, I'll talk about this real quick. Uh, Sometime last week, the there was a tweet from a Quantum Break Twitter account. It's not the official account from Quantum Break themselves, but apparently, according to the title, it was the Detroit Become Human Twitter account. Made a very interesting statement regarding its game and Xbox One owners. Okay, hold on, still sharing this. Pretty much the tweet said that so and so when Detroit comes out and you're still going to be an Xbox One owner, or something like that. And myself, is this a fan account? Like, it's not because it doesn't have a blue marker on it. So I initially thought it was a fan account, but then as I'm looking through it, and I'm looking through Quantum Breaks, who Quantum Break follows and whatnot. The account is there, and even there was a tweet from Quantum Break, Quantic Dream, excuse me. What? Wait, have I been saying Quantum Break this whole time? Holy shit! Yeah, I apologize. This is the downside of going live. Yeah, I've been meaning Quantic Dream. Excuse me. That's what I've been meaning. That's what I've been meaning. Uh, Said, for your latest Detroit news, follow this account, and this account, said what they said. All right, hold on. That what they said. So to me, this was, I'm assuming this is a tweet from someone who's working at the. I mean, I mean, they seem to be working with Quantic Dream. I mean, I mean, that's the only conclusion I can come up with. And to me, it's a bad look for two reasons. One, obviously, if the game comes out and the game is a turd, then you're just you're just asking yourself for a world of hurt. And two, and most importantly, even though I'm an Xbox One owner. Sorry, and listen, I'm an Xbox One owner, so while I am an Xbox One owner, I wasn't offended by it. But to me, I just think that when you start attacking fans, people, like, if this company want to go back and forth with each other, that's fine. Like, that's what they do. It is what it is. But when you have a corporation, I mean, I'm assuming it's a corporation. You know, if they had they had the same thing. If they, wait, hold on, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit distracted. Um, okay, it's one thing to go after a another company. The company they snipe back and forth. That is what it is. But when you start attacking the people, that's when things can go left, and that's when things go too far. Now, granted, I'm not offended, and I don't think it's something to be completely offended by. From what I heard, they've been getting attacked by Xbox fanboys, but I haven't seen it. I haven't really seen it. So at the end of the day, it's a bad look. So there ain't nothing else to it. All right, so I share this on Twitter. So now let me share this on Google Plus, and then I'll be ready to go. So yeah, that's my quick thoughts on the whole Quantic Dream situation with that tweet. I can't believe I can't believe I'm calling it Quantum Break. It's so dumb. Let's see. There's no discussion. Okay. All right. I think I'm ready to go. Um, no, I don't. I know I don't really talk enough about other stuff or on this channel. It's mainly just a gaming channel. But obviously, for those of you who don't know, I made a Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather video, the latest video that I made. Check that out. This is my thoughts, my quick thoughts on it. And the first thing I'm gonna talk about here is NBA free agency. NBA free agency has become such a phenomenon. Like it's one of those things where the what happens in the off season seems to match or probably in some cases exceed what goes on in the regular season. It all started with 2010 with LeBron James and taking my talents to South Beach, and I'm very thankful of that as a Miami Heat fan. So it really ever since that 2010 free agency class, free agency has been like the hot town, and this one, while they don't have a lot of really like great players um in this free agency class, the thing is with the Warriors being so dominant, there's a lot of teams that are like I feel like are quick to make moves. Then you have the whole situation with Paul George and wanting to and pretty much telling Indiana that in a year that I'm out. So Indiana is trying to get rid of him, and Boston has all these assets that they want to get rid of so they can get better. There's lots of things going on. You know what I mean? And to me, I'm very interested. And obviously today, there's two things that happened today that was interesting. For one, Phil Jackson got fired from the Knicks, and that long overdue because that dude sucked at his job. Let's be real. That dude sucked at his job, and just made yeah, I mean, just made things worse for a franchise that to me is one of the most overrated franchises in the history of basketball, in my opinion. But regardless, they do have a long standing history. So to see them, you see them at this lowest point with trying to get rid of Carmelo Anthony and the whole beef that's going on between them and Porzingis. It's 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 hilarious to me. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. They did the right thing. So they fired him, and then several hours later, we come to find out that Chris Paul is going to be traded to the Houston Rockets for if I'm not mistaken, I think is Patrick Beverly part of the trade. I think he is Patrick Beverly, Lou Williams, and a first round pick, and for Chris Paul. And while Chris Paul has always been somewhat labeled as a quote loser, you guys, for those of you who are young, you guys don't realize how irrelevant the LA Clippers have been before he got there. I mean, they were a garbage organization. They were trash. And for them to, with Chris Paul going there, they enjoyed ever under Chris Paul and the rest of the guys. And to me, while it does suck that they didn't do more winning, at the end of the day, he did the best he could, and he's the reason why that franchise is no longer irrelevant. Now I don't know how it's gonna be when he leaves. I don't know what that means for Blake Griffin, who's also a free agent. Like, could be to be honest with you, it could be a good thing or a bad thing that Chris Paul leaves for Blake Griffin because at one point, you know since Chris Paul's not there anymore, they're not going to be doing any much. They're not going to do any type of relevant winning. They're not. They don't stand a chance with just Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, who is, in my opinion, one of the most overrated centers in the league. And not and he's a great defensive player, but he's a dreadful offensive player. All he can do is dunk. He's complete. He's dreadful. And it also kind of is funny too because a couple years ago, Dallas was gonna overpay for that dude, and the Clippers pretty much put the clamps on him and forced him to come back there. And now a year later, Chris Paul is saying adios, I'm gone. Even though he is technically being traded, but he's gone, he's done. That I find that to be funny. But regardless, they're not going to do any major winning, Paul. But so so Blake Griffin could think to himself, you know what? I think it's time for me to go too, and maybe we go someplace else, start anew. Because his tenure for the last couple years hasn't been very good in LA. Ever since ever since the beginning with the flashy dunks and the commercials and stuff like that. The commercial is still there, but the production doesn't seem to be at the same rate. And granted, he's dealt with injuries. I know he had an incident where he punched some dude, some staffer or whatnot. So his time in LA hasn't been great lately. But with that said, while he may not, while his production may not be there, that dude's still a great player. Like and maybe with Chris Paul gone, maybe he'll get more ball handling responsibilities. Because I'm not gonna pretend I watch a whole bunch of Clippers games, but dude's a very good ball handler. Not as good as Chris Paul, obviously, but he's a very good ball handler. And when you have a big, like an athletic big like Blake Griffin being able to handle the ball and stuff like that, can lead to some great things. You see that obviously. You see that with LeBron. You see that with KD, and locally here on a smaller scale, you see that with James Johnson. So having a big that can handle the ball, that's a pretty good advantage to have. And also let me also mention Carl Anthony Towns in Minnesota. When you have a big that can handle the ball, can take guys off the dribble, can shoot from outside, that's a big advantage to have. So maybe on one end, maybe he can see that the writing's on the wall. The team's not gonna do any winning. He might bounce, hopefully to the Heat, or he might stay and be like, okay, let me be the center point of the franchise. So it is what it is. But Chris Paul leaving to go to Houston is interesting because Houston, obviously they were close. I mean, not close, but they had the third best record in the league, if I'm not mistaken. They were a great regular season team, and they got through the first round against OKC, and then in the second round they ran into San Antonio and pretty much got demolished, especially in the last game. Maybe Chris Paul being there might be the thing that gets them over that hump. Not to be Golden State, 'cause I don't think no one's beating them, but to get to the conference finals and compete with Golden State. He could be that. Because I think that system. When you look at the D'Antoni system with point guards, you look at Steve Nash. Let me see. I think for who do you have in New York that? Or I mean, I remember Raymond Felton had a really good run in New York under D'Antoni, especially before Carmelo got there. Um, but and then you look at what he did with James Harden, kind of transferring him from shooting guard to point guard, and obviously Harden had his best year. So if you move Harden back to his natural position at the two, obviously you bring Chris Paul in to play point. And Chris Paul's already great now, and under that system, definitely could be amazing. So I think it's a great trade for Houston. But at the end of the day, everyone's just playing for second place right now with Golden State. So before I move on, the one thing I wanted to discuss is probably how this affects the Heat. Because they are my favorite team. There's been rumors about who they want to go get. I heard that Gordon Hayward is a strong possibility. Obviously Blake Griffin's out there, and also there's a thing where we have two top free agents that we're worried about. and that's James Johnson and Dion Waiters. Now, for those of you who don't know who those two guys are, James Johnson pretty much was a journeyman throughout his entire career. Came to Miami, best shape of his career. Came in the best shape of his career, and had his best year as an NBA pro under the Heat. If I had to explain his game, is he's pretty much a poor man's LeBron James. So he's a big, he's a four, can shoot the three a little bit, can drive to the hole, powerful finisher, great passer, a little bit loose with the ball from time to time. But overall, a very good uh either starting or coming off the bench. He's and you have that, and then you had Dion Waiters, who was drafted number one in the league, or not number one. Now he was drafted in the first round, lottery pick. Never really fully utilized the potential until he got here, and he was in for he missed a lot of time. He missed a lot of time when in the beginning of the year when we were terrible, and he was really the catalyst for us getting back on track because he did something that a lot of people don't really know he can do, is that he can pass the ball. What I mean, he's a great driving kick player. Very clutch 3-point shooting. And also a better than average defender. It really a great compliment to Goran Dragic. Ironically enough, a better compliment to him than Dwayne Wade was, and obviously, Dwayne Wade is my favorite Heat player of all time. So when I say that, that means a lot. But both those dudes are free agents. Pat Riley, he's a swing big kind. He's about swinging for the fences. I don't know if Gordon Hayward or Blake Griffin is going to be enough not only get into the playoffs but to do some damage in the playoffs. But if I had to pick, I think the guy who I think complements this team better than anyone else is Gordon Hayward. But I don't know if I'm interested in paying him $30 million to do that. You know what I mean? Because these salary caps are getting expensive. These players are getting expensive, man. You saw a lot of mediocre players get big contracts last year, and you see the teams are paying the price for that. Why? The reason why Phil Jackson got fired, paid what, I don't know how much Joakim Noah is making, but he's playing a lot. He's getting paid a lot of money to be garbage. Getting paid a lot of money to be garbage. You look at LA with the Dang contract and the Mozgov contract, this garbage ass contract, but that's just how it is. If the salary cap's going up, the salary is going to go up for some of these players. And while I think Gordon Hayward is a very good player, I don't think he's worth 30 million. But at the same time, he definitely does fit what Miami wants to do when it comes to with 3-point shooting and playing defense. And because I mean, because like Gordon Hayward, he's a good defender. I think he's a good defender, and obviously he's a very good 3-point shooter. And I think he's very efficient as well. So I think he's the best fit out of those options. But at the same time, he's also, I think, the highest price tag out of the bunch. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not opposed to the Heat keeping the same core, signing Johnson and Waiters, and pretty much keeping the same group together. I'm not opposed to it because at the end of the day, like no one's gonna beat the Warriors. So if no one's gonna beat the Warriors, we might as well have a fun season. And last year, even though we didn't make the playoffs, it was a fun season, especially the last half of the season, seeing some of the guys grow and seeing some of the guys get better. And I think if Johnson and Waiters can keep the same commitment to their bodies and stuff like that, I think we'll make the playoffs, and I think we'll be dangerous. I mean, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything more than that, but I think we'll be dangerous. So so yeah. So I mean, all right. So I'm done with NBA free agency. Let's talk about Gran Turismo Sport. Now, I know the beta's out. I haven't done the beta yet. I'm really not into betas all that much. And yeah, so I mean, I'm not really into betas, so I haven't downloaded it. But at the same time, I watch gameplay of this game constantly. I have a couple of channels that I'm watching that are playing this game and everything like that. So I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I can't wait to play this game. Like I know that there's a lot of people, even some places. I know the Xbox dudes think this game is dead on arrival because of Forza 7, and I mean Forza 7 looks amazing. There's no denying it. There's no denying it. When it comes to critically speaking, the Forza franchise is the best racing franchise out there. There's no, and this is coming from a Gran Turismo fanboy, right? There's no denying that. But a lot of Xbox dudes think that this game is dead on arrival. I know there's a lot of PlayStation dudes who think that this game is dead on arrival. Me personally, I want to see the game succeed. I mean, I want to see the game do well. But when I look at, I remember that first trailer that they showed. The first trailer that they showed was good, but to me, it focused on the wrong thing, right? And I get that photo mode is important. I understand it's a big deal. I understand people like it. To me, what I care about most of all is the gameplay. Actually, hold on. Actually, I totally forgot. Hold on. Before I continue on with Gran Turismo. Oh, actually, okay. I'm gonna talk about Gran Turismo for a little bit, and then I'm gonna transition into another topic while also talking about Gran Turismo. Now, now for me, like I said before, the first trailer that they showed, they concentrate on the wrong thing, right? They concentrate I believe they concentrate on the esports aspect of it and photo mode, which was a big deal in that trailer. And to me, like it's not. I'll use photo mode, but it's not the thing that I want to see. I want to see beautiful cars. I want to see lovely tracks. I want to see, I want to see exciting races. I want to see, cool like replay angles and awesome races and stuff like. That's what I want to see. I want to see gameplay improvements. I want to see features improvements. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see fucking photo mode be showcased. Right? That's not what I wanted to see. The second trailer is a lot better because it showed more of that gameplay and some of the tracks and some of the stuff going on and in the background. They had a drone following the cars and stuff like that. That was more. That was more my speed. That's what I wanted more of in the second trailer, which was at E3. Now, someone who I follow a lot, someone who I'm cool with, Mike P. The Truth, had an article on Tick Gaming Network where he talked about what was the most important thing in a racer, and he also put this question out on Twitter. And to me, I put graphics, and the reason why I put graphics is because I like to me, I expect the handling in sim racers to be good. You know what I mean? I expect it to be there. I expect, I expect a good number of cars. I expect a good number of tracks. I expect all the other, and obviously you have stuff that don't really concern me, like driving wheel support. Like that doesn't really bother me because I don't have enough space in my room for a driving wheel. So that I don't care about that. And all the other stuff I can, it is what it is. What I care about most of all is graphics. That's why when it was announced that there weren't going to be any dynamic weather effects in the game, that bothered me. Even though I understood that was the only way to get the game to 60, because obviously you can't have your competitor do 60 FPS looking better when you're only doing 30 FPS, and just to add the graphical fidelity. Like gameplay is most important, and that's why they went with 60, and I'm cool with that. But a part of me wants to see that dynamic weather effects. You know what I mean? That to me, that would make Drive Club such a game that I actually wanted to play because the graphics look great. The graphics look amazing. And listen, People have opinions, and that's fine. I still think that Drive Club is still the best looking racer this generation, and the fact that to this day, when it comes to graphics, Drive Club still comes up is a testament to how good that game looks. Not just with the cars, but with the tracks, with the weather effects. Forza Horizon 3 right now. Forza Horizon 3 has some amazing weather effects. Weather effects, but they don't touch they don't touch Drive Club. The nighttime driving at night, right? Looks amazing, especially with the terrain that's all over Forza and their reimagination of Australia. Looks amazing, but they don't touch driving at night in Drive Club. That's how good Drive Club looks. Like Forza Horizon is a far better racing game in general. You know what I mean? A far better racing game in general. But when it comes to graphics, nothing, in my opinion, has touched Drive Club graphically, right? But at the same time, but like I said before, to me, graphics are the most important thing. Like when it comes to arcade racers, and I consider Drive Club an arcade racer. There's other things that go into it where fun factor obviously goes into it. You look at what else do you look at? Handling is important. It to me is more important in a arcade racer. And, so like to me that you have that, but when it comes to sim racers, it's all about the graphics for me because everything else I expect to be there. I expect the cars, I expect the tracks, I expect everything else to be on point. But it's the graphics that is important to me. And when I look at some of the gameplay of Gran Turismo, there's sometimes when the game looks amazing, and there's other time when the game looks bland. You know what I mean? And when it comes to Forza, you know, when I see it raining in Forza, it looks a lot better. You know what I mean? Like I haven't seen any like non-weather gameplay of Forza yet, so I can't really speak on it too much. But when it comes to when I look at the rain, it looks amazing. And while I don't know if Gran Turismo Sport is not gonna have rain. You know what I mean? I just know that they're not gonna have like changing weather effects during racing and stuff. Like I know that they won't have that. They won't have dynamic weather. But when it comes to these racing when it comes to racing sims, man, like the graphics are what's important to me. That's what's important to me. And like I said, I look at Gran Turismo and sometimes it looks great, sometimes it looks bland. You know what I mean? And another thing that I wanted to comment on is their push for they have the big thing with Gran Turismo Sport is the real racing competition aspect of it, where they partner with I believe it's called the IFA. They have two sets of racing competitions. They have one that you represent your country, and they have one where you represent your manufacturer of your driving manufacturer of choice. So like Nissan, Ford, whatever. And it's a cool concept, and I think that's the big draw of the game is that. And to me, that's a very cool thing to have. Like I'm not knocking it, and I see a lot of driving dudes who played it. And the funny thing is, a lot of people from the outside who either have never played it or I played it a little bit don't seem to be excited about this game. But a lot of people who I seen that drive the game, who played the game extensively, seem to really like it. So I'm not dissing that aspect of the game. But to me, I just don't like this trend in gaming where everything seems to be focused on the upcoming esports tournament or the fighting game tournament, what have you, in order for us to release a game. Street Fighter 5 is the biggest offender of this. Everyone knows I made a video on this. When Street Fighter 5 came out, it came out half ass, with most of the features not being there. Came out completely half fast. Why? Because they wanted to get the game out in time for, I think it was the Konami Cup or Evo or one of those two games. You know what I'm saying? Like that pisses me off to this day. Even though, even with all the improvements and everything like that that's going on with that game, that still pisses me off to this day because it shows that their focus is not on the is on the mainstream audience. And I understand that most of their big fighting game, the tournament fighters, all they care about is playing in tournaments. They don't care about any of the other stuff regarding story mode, arcade mode, stuff like that. All they really want is some challenges and a practice mode, and that's it. Most tournament fighters, that's all they care about. They don't care about the other stuff. Me personally, I care about the other stuff. 'Cause I'm not a tournament fighter like that. I've fought in some tournaments. I fought in the Jabari tournament, and I've done a couple local tournaments on my own. But I'm not a tournament fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not who I am. I like fighting game. I love fighting game, but I'm more of a casual fighting game fan. Like as far as like when it comes to like tournaments and stuff like that. Like I'm pretty casual when it comes to it. It's not something that I dedicate my life to. No, no, that's not who I am. I mean, the same thing goes with, and when I see these gaming devs talk about, oh, we have this in mind for esports and and that in mind for esports and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, guys, concentrate on the fucking game first. Because if the game don't is no good, none of this shit matters. Nothing else matters. You know what I'm saying? Like I want the games to be made with the intention of the game being great. Because to me, in throughout my lifetime, right, I've seen. You look at some of the big games that are the part of tournaments now, or games that became popular over the years. They were all done organically. You know what I mean? Like you look at the SOCOM series. The SOCOM series wasn't made with the intention of being on X Play. With these gaming tournaments. For those of you who don't know, I look at I don't remember the name of it by heart, but they had these competition where you had teams. Oh, esports. This esports thing is not new. Where you had teams pretty much clans who would play against each other in different games. Like I remember, what game was there? I think they had some fighting game stuff that was there. I know. I think I saw Halo there one time, but the game that seemed to be the main event was SOCOM, and that was done organically. It wasn't done. That game wasn't made to appease fucking tournament players. It was done organically. Same thing with Halo. You know what I mean? Halo is a big deal, not because it was made to be some sort of esport, mega hit. It was great because the game was awesome, and they bought a level of that type of PC multiplayer gaming. They bought that to consoles with that game. You know what I mean? You look at you look at the Street Fighters and your Tekken and stuff like that. Like before, like obviously, I remember, I know, Street Capcom for years have kind of finessed us with these releases and upgrades year after year after year with the Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Champions Edition. I get that. But back then, most fighting games, they were just made just to be made. They weren't made just so that they can be part of tournaments. If they were, that was a testament to how great your game was. That people liked it so much that they wanted to compete and get real good at it. But now you see some of these developers, they're like, okay, we have this game coming out. We're excited about it. We're gonna have like huge esports support and all the other stuff. We have a bunch of stuff, and to me, I'm just like, that's not that's not what game creation is about. I understand people. I understand that people want to make money. I understand they want their game to be successful, but at the end of the day, the only thing that should matter to them is making a great game. Whatever happens after that happens. Like at the end of the day, the market is going to dictate how your game does, regardless of whether it's the greatest game of all time or it's a piece of shit. Like the game market is going to determine that. So, for me, I would like to see more developers be more committed to making a full fledged great game than to kind of throw themselves and kind of like try to make a quick buck trying to get this game on fucking ESPN or try to create try to create like some sort of league behind it or whatnot. Because I remember the biggest offender in all this. I not well obviously was Street Fighter, but I remember a couple years ago. I was watching, this, channel surfing, what have you. They had an NBA Live tournament. I forgot which year it was, but they had an NBA Live tournament. I'm like, why is this bullshit ass game being shown on TV? Why are you playing this garbage ass game on TV? The game that live game, I forgot which one it was, but that game was completely utter dog shit. And it was around the same year, maybe it was the year before they put 2K put Jordan on the cover. I mean, 2K at this point was far superior to fucking NBA Live, far superior. But yet you have this dog shit ass game being highlighted on ESPN. Yeah, like and they're these two fucking nerds playing the fucking game, playing this garbage ass basketball game like that game's any that was worth a damn. And that annoys me because to me EA, like, they made that game with that sole purpose because they ain't concentrating on the fucking game. I can tell you that much. They ain't concentrating on the game for that. I guarantee you that because they knew that they could release a turd and people won't care because the game's gonna be on ESPN and you're gonna get a bunch of other fucking idiots who happen to watch it to buy the game so that they can get good in a game that sucks. And that bothers me. At the end of the day, what I want to see, and I'm not against esports or nothing. I'm not against gaming tournaments or nothing like that. I'm not against it. But what I want to see games being made for the sake of being great games, not to get some type of sponsorship to sponsor your the tournament on a network or whatever. I want the game to be great to be. I want the game to be made with the intention of being great, and then let everything else fall where they lie. Right? Not to appease some sort of not just so that they can make a game and then and whore it out to sponsor A or sponsor B. Be like, hey, give us a make a TV show out of this. So that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I'm gonna look through Twitter real quick to see if there's anything else I can talk about. Let me see. Mm-mm. Oh, that sucks. Um, that sucks. I'm looking at here on Twitter via Jason Solomon sounds off. Jason Solomon, that Tough Enough alum Matt Capitelli, I think that's his last name. I heard of him before. I think he was the dude that got pretty much like fucking smashed by Hardcore Holly in an episode of Tough Enough. Apparently his brain tumor has returned and it's inoperable, and that sucks. That sucks. Let me see. What else is there? Let me see. Yeah, I'm still looking. I also got like a fucking airplane flying over me. Okay. What else is there? Yeah, 19 years ago today, Undertaker threw Mick Foley off the top of Hell in a Cell. Oh my god, that shit was nuts. Like I just saw a video of it today, but I obviously I've seen it over the years. It's just, complete and utter insanity. Let's see, what else is there to talk about? Um, I guess I could talk about the NES Classic, Super NES Classic. All right, listen. I remember saying that if they made a Super Nintendo Classic, what have you, then I would buy it. No, no, I decided against it because I mean, listen. First off, I have a tablet and I have a Super Nintendo emulator, so I pretty much have access to any game I want, plus the Super Famicom games. Right. The only thing I need is pretty much a You know what I need? I need a classic, not classic, but I need a controller for my tablet because I can use the Xbox One controller fine, but what it does, it kind of fucks up the syncing with my Xbox with the Xbox One actually. So I would prefer to have like a dedicated controller to for my tablet. Hold on, turn this down. I'd rather have that. Oh shit! Hey Dreadhead, what's up, man? Yeah, I just now saw it, man. Hold on. I'll send you a message. Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, I look at the Super Nintendo Classic. It's a cool idea. It's a cool concept. It's a cool concept. I mean, I like the shell, the small Super Nintendo shelling there. But at the end of the day, man, like only has fucking 21 games on there. Like, I mean, I not enough. Like, to me, man, it's just not enough, man. And I'm looking at some of the games that are not there. I'm reading an article from IGN, and obviously give me one moment. Earthworm Jim is not there. Oh, let me see. I mean, they have a couple RPGs that I don't give a shit about. NBA Jam is not there, and I understand because when it comes to like sports games and stuff like that. I mean, you have I mean, you don't have you have like outdated rosters and stuff like that, and you never know with these type of things how that stuff like that would go when it comes to sports games. Pilot Wings is not there, which I find odd. Because I Pilot Wings are Super R Type is not there, which I also find odd. Oh, what else? I don't care about that. They don't have TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, which was a great beat 'em up, second best only to the original on the arcade. At least in my opinion. And let me see, they have one more. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Fuck that game. Fuck that game. That game not that Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 is not that great, so it doesn't matter. Um, so yeah, I mean, I have a tablet. I can download any emulators I want. So to me, not interested. And I'm not interested in giving Nintendo my money. Like, I mean, I'm just being real. I'm not interested in giving Nintendo my money because I don't trust the company. I don't like the company. So there you have that. You have that as well. Plus, I know that they're not gonna make enough, and whoever's selling on eBay is gonna sell it for like $1,000. And I'm not interested in the hassle. I'm not interested in it. At the end of the day, for those of you, for especially for younger kids who haven't experienced those games, I think it's a good idea, especially in as purest form as possible, not through emulation. I think it's cool for them, but for everyone else, I mean, to me it's a waste of time. In my opinion, it's a waste of time. And I saw a video from someone who I hadn't watched in a long time, Mr. Red Fox. He's a big Nintendo fan, and I'm going to ignore. I'm not going to mention the fact that he compared. Um, yeah, I agree. I agree. And also like yeah, nostalgia sells. I get it. I get it. But the thing is that when it comes to the microphone, like, I have a new mic, obviously. I have a laptop, so that's just how. That's just the setup. That's just how it is now. When it comes to videos, I'll still use my phone. I'll still use some other stuff, so I won't sound as good. But I do notice that when I'm talking through Google Hangout, I sound a lot better, and I'm gonna do that more often. So thank you for noticing. Thank you for noticing. But yeah, so Red Fox made a video, and I'm going to ignore the fact that he compared Nintendo's issue with third party with segregation that went on in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. I'm going to ignore that because at the end of the day, this video will take forever for me to dissect the stupidity of that comparison. But I'm gonna talk about the main reason why Nintendo doesn't get third party support and why he's not supporting third parties on the platform. His reason for not supporting them is actually valid. You do not support half-ass ports on the Switch. Do not support it, and that's what he was saying. He doesn't want to support half-ass ports, and I agree with him. He's 100% right. The problem is the reason why you're getting half-ass support on the Switch is because the console that is being made for is not strong enough to handle the games that they want to make. Period. End the story. Now you could talk about some of the other stuff regarding Nintendo's reluctance to listen to third parties. You could talk about third parties pretty much putting Nintendo kind of swinging Nintendo between a rock and a hard place when it comes to, well, we'll make games for you if the system sells, we'll make games for you if our game sells, and all the other bullshit that they try to pull on Nintendo. We could talk about that. We could talk about everything till we're blue in the face. The fact of the matter is this: is very very simple. The Switch is too fucking weak to make the game that these developers want to make. If they're bitching complaining about the PS4 and Xbox One being too weak, and for fuck's sake, there's some people complaining about the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One not being able to make these games the way they want to make it. What makes you think that a fucking system like the Switch, which is weaker than all of them, what makes you think that they're going to be able to make the game that you want on that system on par with those other games if the system is too fucking weak to make? It's not hard to find to sort through the BS. The fact is the system's not strong enough. With the Switch, I wanted to see if they would bring more unique games, third party games to the type to the system, like a Super Street Fighter. Yeah, yeah, Redhead, you're right. Hardware limitations, right? That's why I wanted to see if if Nintendo would entice third party to bring unique titles to the system, like a Street Fighter, Ultra Street Fighter 2. You know what I mean? Like a new Bomberman. Nintendo doesn't own Bomberman. Like Bomberman, right? The newest Bomberman. Bring some of these unique titles to the Switch, and then I think people would. I don't want to say you always have some people who are like, oh, Nintendo's kitty and all that other bullshit. But at the end of the day, like, if you could bring some of these unique titles to the system, then I think people will quiet down about Nintendo's lack of third party, and also you will see. I think you'll also see a quieting down of people bitching about Nintendo droughts, because that was the big thing with the Wii U was his droughts. So to me, like, that's why the system doesn't get third party support that you guys want, because the system's not strong enough. It's simply not. And at the end of the day, and I made a video about this, what, 2.5 3 years ago, about Nintendo and third party. It's 25 minutes long. It's a long fucking video. But I said the same thing in that video that I'm gonna say now. The system is too weak, and obviously you have Nintendo and some of their arrogance, just kind of like doing their own thing, which is fine. But at the same time, if you guys want third party support, you have to talk to these developers and see what they want and what they don't want on the system, and see if they can still make the game that they want to make without conforming to some, like with the example with the Wii U, without conforming to this useless ass screen in the middle of it. Nobody used outside of maybe Nintendo, and even still, you look at games like Smash, you look at games like Mario Kart. Like, do you need a tablet controller to play those games realistically? No, you don't. No, you don't. You know what I mean? You see a lot of Nintendo fans. They sit there and they bitch and complain about third parties like they're like, to this day people are saying, oh, they're scared to put their games on Nintendo consoles because they won't sell well and this and that. They're afraid of Mario, Odyssey, and all the other bullshit. And the fact is, none of that shit's true. At the end of the day, I guarantee you, most developers and most publishers want to bring their games to every platform. But when you have a platform, like I said 2.5 years ago, when you have a platform that is not being marketed towards their target audience, when you have a platform that makes hardware that is unique to this console, that doesn't have the same power, and is much more difficult to develop for, why would they bother? Why should they bother to make games on that console? Why would they? At the end of the day, Nintendo can make games. Nintendo can make a console where they can have all the bells and whistles that make Nintendo great, allowing third parties to make the game that they want to make with the needed hardware. You bring it onto the system. Because I guarantee you, and again, I said this fucking 2.5 years ago. I guarantee you, with the way some of these fucking Nintendo fanboys speak, when they talk about how Nintendo's up here and everyone else is down here like little fucking peons and shit, I guarantee you the vast majority of those Nintendo fanboys would prefer to own one console to play all their supposed great Nintendo games and have the best third party as well. I guarantee you that's what they want. But at the end of the day, they're not going to get it because at the end of the day, Nintendo, that's not what they want. They're not interested in you guys. They know they have you guys in the palm of their hand. They know they do. Because look at all the stuff that the system lacks. Look at the Switch, for example. Look at all the stuff that the Switch lacks. And I'm not saying the Switch is a bad console at all. I'm not saying that because, one, I don't have much experience with it, but by the time I've had with it, it's a slick looking device. I don't like the detachable stuff that goes on with it. I don't like that at all. I don't trust detachable hardware. But it's a slick device, and it already has games on there. It already has games on there. Stop. Oh, sorry. This fucking computer. It has stuff on there that I actually would rather play than most of the stuff that was on the Wii, outside of the fucking ports, the Wii U ports. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to play Ultra Street Fighter 2. I would love to play Bomberman. Not really. I don't really like Bomberman all that much, but to play with 8 people, that would be cool. 8 people Bomberman is cool, right? Like, again, there's some stuff I like about the system, but again, the online infrastructure, one, is not there yet, and two, they're going to be charging people for an online infrastructure that's not proven. And I'm not blaming them for charging because everyone else is charging, but is I mean, it's not proven. And then the whole chatting infrastructure is complete utter dog shit. Is complete utter dog shit. Like, I don't get this company. Like, again, they have the blueprint. They have the blueprint, dude. If all they did was copy PSN, then they would be in so much better shape now than they are now. And then the problem is that they make money off of other shit like amiibos, and I know they have Nintendo Land or some bullshit like that they're making in Disney or what have you. So they're making money hand over fist. But at the end of the day, they want the Wii crowd back. That's what they want. They don't care about you guys. They want the Wii crowd back. That's what they want. That's what they want. Let me see. Yeah, it's true. Like it's true. Like a lot of devs see what we say on Twitter, even if even if like they don't respond. They see what we say. They see what these people say. Like for me here's how I look at it. I agree with Red Fox. If a game is half-assed, if the port is half-assed, don't buy it. Don't buy it. But at the same time, tell Nintendo that you want a more capable hardware. Because as long as Nintendo wants to stagger behind the other two when it comes to power, you're never going to get those games. You're always going to have to buy a PS4, a PlayStation, or an Xbox, or build a PC to get the rest of your games. And to me, that's not what a good console is. Like for me, I own the Xbox One and I own a PS4. PS4 is my main console, right? The only reason why I bought an Xbox One exclusive, and I'll probably play some multiplayer there also, definitely. But if I just own the PS4, I'd be fine. Even if there were games on other platforms that I want to play, as long as my gaming needs are done on the PS4 solely, I would be fine. I chose to get an Xbox One. I didn't need an Xbox One. I chose to get one. But a lot of you Nintendo fanboys, you have to buy a PlayStation. You have to buy an Xbox. You have to build a PC because you're not going to get the games that I know you guys want to play. The same game that you guys constantly downgrade. Talk about how the Nintendo games are far superior. At the end of the day, those games just by sheer volume outweigh the Nintendo game. By sheer volume, you can talk about quality all you want, but it has far more games than Nintendo do. And I know there's games through the crack that you want to play. I know that for a fact. No matter how much of a corporate slave that you guys can be, PlayStation fanboys can be, Xbox fanboys can be. At the end of the day, we're all gamers. Most of us are. You know what I mean? At least most of us are. So I know you guys want to play these games. That's why every Nintendo fan that I've met on Twitter or on YouTube has had a a PlayStation or an Xbox or a gaming PC. Red Fox, Red Fox, he has a PC. He was playing. I believe I don't know what game he was playing. But he was playing a game on PC during the video. Like to me, Nintendo being a de facto secondary console is not something that I grew up on. Like I grew up on the Super Nintendo, where it had easily the best. It had the best of the first party. It also had the best of the third party. It had the best of both worlds. And to see Nintendo throughout the years, go go so far down in that department when it comes to third parties, it's sad. And it's not something that I want to see the company turn into. Like again, at the end of the day, if they're making money, then whatever, it is what it is. But they're not getting my money because at the end of the day, that I want to play. They're not making hardware that appeases my what I want. So you know that's pretty much it. I mean it's hot as fuck out here, so I gotta go back inside, man. Get in the air conditioning. Exactly, exactly, exactly. Right, you're gonna make this video longer than it needs to be, bro. But he's right. The Vita, the system that everyone shat on, the Precious Vita, has more features than the Switch does. Has online. You know what I mean? Excuse me. Has online, right? What else did he say? Um, it has an internet browser, online chat. I remember. Look, dude, I remember Shokyo. Of all people, Shokyo. Oh, sorry. Let me turn it down. Shokyo, of all people, tried to justify Nintendo not having uh audio jack into the Wii U for the screen with the tablet controller because you can hear people clicking buttons while you're playing. I'm like, Get the fuck out of here. The Vita, you can do voice chat on the Vita, and I mean, it wasn't a hindrance. Like, I mean, this is Shokyo, like one of the most knowledgeable and one of the most like well-reasoned Nintendo fans out there, and he was using that as an excuse. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't believe it. But like, you look at devices in the past, like, and you're looking at Nintendo's so far behind when it comes to all these with all these things when it comes to online gaming, and it's like, why does this have to be the case? Why? You have a blueprint. You have Xbox Live. You have PSN. For fuck's sake, you even have Steam. Like, who's not seeing this? Who's not seeing this? This is why I look at guys like Reggie Friesen, man. I'm like, yo, this dude is a snake oil salesman. People are like, oh, this Phil Reggie is so cool and this and that. I'm like, yo, this dude's not giving you what you want. He's not, at least he's not giving me what I want. Most Nintendo fans are more interested in letting Nintendo dictate what you want as opposed to telling them what you want. You know what I mean? They like, you had Nintendo fanboys who are like, "Oh, we don't. The game doesn't need online play. It doesn't need this. It doesn't need that." And I'm like, you guys are lying to yourselves. You guys are lying to yourselves, man. Like, and it just, to me, this doesn't make any sense. This is why I didn't buy a Switch at launch, and why, I'm not gonna completely shit on it. I'm gonna wait a year. Like I said, I'm gonna wait a year to see where the company goes before I decide whether or not I'll buy one or not buy one. But at the end of the day, like, at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is with that system. I don't trust the company to make great consoles anymore. And to be fair, like, people can say that their games are great. I mean, again, like, I'm sure their games are great, but it's not games that are on my radar. So I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh, I can't wait for Smash Brothers or Zelda, even Zelda. Like, and I would like to play Zelda, but I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not giving them money to play Zelda. No, I'm not giving them. I'm not giving a company I don't trust my money if I don't just for one game. No, exactly, exactly. Nostalgia overrides common sense. But like I said, I'm not giving them money over. I'm not giving them money just to play one game if I don't trust the company. I can't do it. Can't do it. Yeah, I mean, all the other games like Mario Odyssey is the one that I'm actually looking forward to the most out of all those games that came out. But even still, I'm not giving them my money because at the end of the day, I don't trust the company to keep their promise on delivering the delivering the console experience that I want. I don't trust it because I seen it happen with the Wii. I seen it happen with the Wii U. You know what I mean? I don't. I why would I trust the company to deliver the same gaming experiences when you had the Wii, which died out after what, a couple years, and the Wii U that died out after 1 year. You know what I mean? I can't do it. Can't do it, man. And if they're gonna be stubborn about about their online infrastructure and all the BS that goes along with it, I can't do it, man. I'm not supporting that company. I don't support a company that's so ass backwards when it comes to the standards of gaming today. Can't do it. But yeah, that's about it, man. Like I said, thank you for Dreadhead for watching. Um, for anyone else, if you if you watch it later on, don't forget to subscribe, comment. I'm going inside now. It's hot as fuck out here. So this is Huvi 186. I'm out. Peace.